guys, welcome to another installment of From Pixels to Plastic. So hey, Pokemon. It's kind of weird thinking about it, but Pokemon Red and Blue, they're kind of like retro games, right? I mean, sure, Pokemon's been around for what seems like ever now, and they came out in '96 in the United States. I was in high school at the time, but let me tell you, I got just as wrapped up in Pokemon as everybody else. I loved that game for my Game Boy. In fact, this is still my original Pokemon strategy guide, the official Nintendo one. Got all the stickers in here to see which Pokemon I caught at the time. So what does all this have to do with From Pixels to Plastic? Well, lately I've been focusing a lot on action figures based on retro video game properties that have seemingly finally been given proper action figure treatment. I know what you're thinking. Pokemon has been around in toy aisles for years. Ever since '96, there have been tons of Pokemon action figures. I mean, everything from Burger King kids meals to the Pokemon black and white toys you can walk into your Target store right now and buy off the shelf. And that's true. There have been a lot of Pokemon toys. But there really haven't been any Pokemon toys that are geared towards collectors. You know, great sculpts, high articulation, really well done likenesses of the characters. Most of these toys that we've seen over the years have been based for kids, which makes sense, you know. Kids play the games, kids want to get the toys, but what about us grown-ups now? You know, the ones that started playing Pokemon when we were a little younger and now we're collectors. There really haven't been any Pokemon toys to meet our needs. Until now.
Tamashii Nation and Bandai Japan's D-Arts line, short for Digital Arts, brings the world of video game characters to life in highly detailed, collectible action figures. Their latest license acquisition is Nintendo's Pokemon. While there have been so many Pokemon games since the start of the series in the 1990s, Bandai has chosen to go back to the source of it all by giving us figures from the original Pokemon Red and Blue games. Kicking off the line is the mysterious 150th Pokemon known as Mewtwo. Mewtwo comes in a nice window box, showcasing the figure within. The design of the box is very nicely done, with some images of the character on the outside, as well as some nice metallic highlighting to the box, making it feel like something special. The back of that box shows off a sampling of all the many ways that you can pose the included figure. Out of the box, I must say that the figure is immediately quite impressive. The overall sculpt of the figure is very well done, perfectly capturing the design of Mewtwo as seen in the cartoons and the artwork for the classic video game. The paint job is also nice and clean, featuring the varying shades of purple that are prominent on the character, with some nice shadowing done as well. The figure stands nearly 6 inches tall, and he's nice and solid. There's actually quite a bit of weight to him, which is nice because he doesn't feel at all cheap. It's definitely a nicer quality plastic that is used. To go along with the beautiful sculpt, Mewtwo also has a really nice range of articulation. The head is on a nice ball joint, and you'll notice that the piece that connects the back of his head to his back is made of a soft, flexible plastic. This allows the head to still move freely without hindering that movement, which I find to be a really nice touch. Most all of his joints are ball jointed, so there is a great range of motion in his arms, including individually articulated fingers. He also has joints at his torso, waist, thighs, knees, and ankles, so you can really get a wide range of movement out of this figure for some fantastic poses. But most impressive of that all is Mewtwo's tail, which is ball jointed at every single section all the way down, allowing you to really pose it just about any way you can think. To help you achieve those poses, the figure also comes with a figure display stand. The base is large and circular with a Pokeball themed design on it. There is an articulated arm that plugs into it with a clamp that can close around the figure's torso. Now, while the base does work, I do have a minor complaint with it. That clamp just does not close tight enough for my tastes. You'll oftentimes find yourself trying to set up a pose only for that clamp to loosen and the figure to fall out. Since the figure has such thick, heavy thighs and small feet, this display stand is mostly necessary, so I wish it were a tad sturdier than it is. But that minor complaint aside, it does still work when you kind of mess around with it for a while. And once you do get it to work, there is no denying that you can definitely get some great poses out of this figure, including some awesome hovering and even flying poses. Mewtwo includes one interchangeable hand that can be easily swapped by popping it on the ball joint. This hand has a peg on the palm so that you can attach his other accessory, a Shadow Ball Blast Effect. The Blast Effect is really cool looking, and is going to add even more variety to how you can display this figure. Lastly, only included with the first run of Mewtwo is an exclusive Mew minifigure. The figure is non-articulated but is very nicely done. He even includes his very own flight stand that could be plugged into Mewtwo's base, so that way you can have both figures displayed together. We've had a lot of Pokemon action figures over the years, but to my knowledge, this is the first time we've had high-end collectible versions of these characters, which makes perfect sense, seeing as how those of you that played Red and Blue back in its heyday are all grown up and collectors now. Mewtwo is just the first of the Pokemon figures that we're going to get in this line, as the original Kanto starters of Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur have already been announced and are on the way. Mewtwo here can be picked up online for around $40 to $60 depending on where you buy them from. But like all other collectible import figures, they tend to sell out very quickly and they're going to get very pricey on the aftermarket. I'm very happy with how this figure turned out, and I am on board for the rest of the figures released in this line, as long as they stick to the original 150 Pokemon. Not that I haven't enjoyed Pokemon games since then, but there's definitely a nostalgic connection to Red and Blue that seems to really work for these figures. And hey, check this out. You can pair these guys up with the Figma Samus and Link and the upcoming Figma Pit, and you can get yourself one heck of a cool Super Smash Bros. Display. Oh man, how exciting is that? Like Link and Samus there, this Mewtwo figure is another video game toy collector's dream come true.